Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. New videos every Saturday, so if you don't want to miss out on your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness, make sure to click subscribe and check my channel every Saturday for new videos. I love reading your comments and I really do appreciate all of you that watch. It is dangerous to release too much of my awesomeness all at once. I was socially raised by wolves. You can't take me anywhere, I promise you. So today we're going to be talking about my dangerous game rifle collection. Now you want to talk about some awesomeness. This is a CZ550 Magnum 458 Lott. The 458 Lott is a bolt action cartridge that's designed to replicate the 450 Nitro Express double rifle cartridge. You want to talk about some awesomeness. This is a 6-inch log cookie oak. And I left a crater back there. So if you want to see some ballistic gel tests with this rifle and this round, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Because quite frankly, this level of awesomeness, I honestly have no idea how much ballistic gel it's going to take to actually capture one of these 500 grain slugs going 2,300 feet per second. Just annihilated, just totally split out. This is going to be a little bit controversial, so I want to get it out of the way early. All animals have a flight zone. You've heard of the fight or flight response. The fact is, a flight zone is a distance to which you can get to from an animal before that animal will either make the decision to do something about you or run away. Dangerous game hunting and sport hunting in general comes under great scrutiny and great criticism because it seems that it is no longer done under sporting and dangerous conditions. A Cape buffalo, while it is a large and dangerous animal, is not dangerous to you if you shoot him from the shooting sticks set up by your guide at 100 yards with a scoped rifle. Dangerous game rifles, traditionally speaking, have been outfitted as you see them here, with either aperture sights or express sights, but iron sights only. They have traditionally been Mauser style actions, which has a controlled feeding system. I sadly do not own any double rifles, but an animal does not become dangerous to you until you are within its flight zone. And in the interest of the thrill of the chase, quite frankly, I think you as a higher version of fauna owe it to your quarry to frankly be willing to let the game chase you back. So what I have here are 3 examples from my collection. 30-06 Springfield is a very versatile cartridge. It can be loaded as lightweight as 125 grains in the projectile, and it can be loaded as heavy as 220 grains in its projectile, and it is the essential North American hunting cartridge. At its heavier weights, it holds energy, and the bullets tend to retain their weight and keep driving forward without over-expanding. So with that being said, the 30-06 is very manageable in recoil, and this particular rifle here is a Remington Enfield 1917 action. It's been sporterized, but importantly, it is controlled feed. Now, you can argue with me until you're blue in the face, but a full-length claw-style Mauser extractor, I feel if I'm going to be hunting something that can hunt me back, it's what I want. Good sized safety. Now, if you paid attention when you looked at that bolt, you would see that the P14/P17 style bolt and action is what Ruger has based their M77 rifles off of. Importantly, in a dangerous game rifle, you want a stock that's going to fit you. As you can see, this has a Monte Carlo cheek piece and a hogback, so that when you shoulder this rifle, you're automatically going to be aligned with your sight. The 30-06 has manageable recoil, and in a controlled feed style action with a stock that actually fits you, I feel that a 30-06 Mauser style rifle is an excellent rifle for anything in North America. But if you're going after the more dangerous critters at dangerous distances, I would definitely go with the heavier loadings in the 30-06. Obviously, it's a very shootable caliber in a very historical rifle. This rifle is like an instrument of God's will when I'm shooting it. Now, the 30-06 rifle caliber has enough energy to get there, but the projectiles do not tend to break apart or overexpand, which is one problem that, if you do a lot of reading on the subject, that the much hotter loaded 300 Magnums actually have problems with. It doesn't matter how awesome your gunsmith tells you the cartridge is, if your actual projectile breaks up at close range when you need to stop the brown bear. The 375 H&H Magnum is a very versatile cartridge as well, and it's regarded as the minimum dangerous game caliber recommended. It's very useful for African game, Australian game, and the heavier varieties of North American game. With that being said, this is the 375 alongside the 30-06. However, the minimum bore diameter in many African countries is .375. It does not specify cartridge, which has led many manufacturers, honestly, shamefully in my opinion, to taking a 30-06 length case or a 30-06 length action and necking up or blowing up the case. And so we get compromised cartridges like the 416 Ruger and the 375 Ruger, which are basically 30-06 length cartridges that attempt to mimic the 375 H&H. There is also a much older cartridge, the 375 Winchester. However, with that being said, take my word for it, the 375 H&H Magnum is the gold standard. And even more shamefully, that makes me even more upset because of the naivety of some people that don't know any better. They will buy these compromised cartridges like the 375 Ruger in a push-feed style action like a Savage. Now, that's not to say that there's anything wrong with the Mossberg bolt actions or the Savage bolt actions, but this is a 375 H&H Interarms Mauser. And obviously, as previously stated in this video, a dangerous game rifle, in my opinion, should be controlled feed extraction. So let's recap here. We have a compromised cartridge in a push feed action, and it's perfectly okay because you're probably never going to break 100 yards from your quarry. Okay, I got it. But back to this particular rifle. It also has a hogback style comb, Monte Carlo cheek piece. This one has a Williams sight, and it has a blade. It's actually a very pretty rifle. While it is not my favorite, this rifle is actually built a 375 barrel onto a 30-06 length style action, which is where you see this cutout here to actually be able to load and slide the nose of the cartridge down. So a Whitworth or Interarms Mauser, while it is not my first choice, it is part of my dangerous game rifle collection. As you can see, it slides in and then drops down in there just like that. Now, the 375 H&H is a manageable cartridge, but this is basically an overbuilt 30-06 rifle. So it has a very sharp recoil. It's not really designed to be a Magnum Mauser, but it does work. I only paid about $650 for this particular rifle, and all of my dangerous game rifle collection, I only paid no more than $900 for any of these rifles that I'm showing you. It's a beautiful rifle, but basically I have it for the sake of owning a 375 H&H. Now, if you're actually in the market for a dangerous game caliber bolt action, I would recommend you actually strongly looking into the CZ 550 series of rifles, because there's square-bridged Mauser action, controlled feed, controlled extraction, good magazine capacity, finely tuned rifles out of the factory. They come standard with express sights that you may have to file in yourself. This one I have a fiber optic on that I normally keep a hood over the top of it, but the CZ550 Magnum is pretty much an affordable, reliable, robust, historically correct, dangerous game rifle. It's chambered in a variety of dangerous game calibers. Comes with a Monte Carlo stock. Now, I do not have a hogback stock on this, so I may actually eventually get a custom stock, because one important thing with dangerous game rifles is you want to be able to organically shoulder the rifle and have your sights naturally aligned. It starts out at your first point of contact, and you want your eye naturally looking down the sights as they are zeroed. Now, this is a very heavy rifle, and quite honestly, it is an awesome rifle. Shooting this rifle for me is a visceral experience, because this rifle is chambered in the 458 Lott cartridge. That is a 30-06 alongside of the 458 Lott. It always ends up frustrating me when people talk about big bore rifles, and yes, a 45 caliber bore is, quote, big. The 458 Lott next to a 4570 cartridge just makes it look embarrassing. Now, the 458 Lott is not nearly as versatile as the 375 H&H Magnum, but the 458 Lott is designed to mimic in a bolt action the famous 450 Nitro Express cartridge. It fires a 500 to 550 grain projectile at 2,300 feet per second. That's factory loading. You can load them even hotter than that. The Interarms Mauser that I have here in 375 H&H is a nice rifle for the amount of money that I paid for it. And I do love shooting 458 Lott. But I'll be honest with you, 458 Lott is a caliber that's meant to be shot standing up. When I was confirming my zero for this video, I did it from a sitting position, and I admit that it beat the shit out of me, and I developed a little bit of a flinch with it. This is a 6-pound rifle. This is a 10-pound rifle. So if I had to do it all over again, I would actually end up buying, and I'm probably going to buy, a CZ550 Magnum in 375 H&H to complement my 458 Lott right here. The Interarms Mausers are pretty, but they're basically built on a standard length action, which is 30-06 length. The CZ550 is built ground up to be a dangerous game hunting bolt action. So we've covered calibers, we've covered actions, we're going to talk about sights. First of all, before I forget, I'm going to put the hood back on to protect that fiber optic front sight. But express style sights on a properly fitted rifle will naturally align themselves when you shoulder the rifle organically. but you've got to have a rifle stock that actually fits you properly. I tend to prefer aperture style sights because I like air around my front sight. But with that being said, this is a CZ550 aperture sight made by New England Custom Guns. I bought it, I zeroed it. It's a nice sight, but there's one problem with it. The peep aperture is too small and it sits too far forward from your eye to be a naturally aligning ghost ring style sight. So while it is a well-made sight that is easily adjustable and it would work very well, the fact is it's too slow and you will be better off using the factory express style sights on a CZ550. While I do tend to prefer aperture style sights, sadly it sits too far away from the eye with too small of an aperture to actually make me feel confident in having it on this rifle or giving the New England Custom Guns peep sight for the CZ an actual good review. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at SOETacticalgear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. Thanks for watching Texas Grebner Outdoors.